Build creative confidence. Beat the inspiration addiction. Join the Writer's Gym. I am proudly a podcast first and a YouTube channel second, and yet here I am with my bookmark. Ironically, I have just held that upside down. I am not going to get Ashley to edit that out because that is priceless. I'm also going to share with you, it's a day for this because I don't know if you can hear this, but I bloody can. My neighbours are having quite a lot of work done on their flat, and every so often, even over my beautiful sound equipment, it goes so I can hear it. Maybe you get to share a little of that experience with me. If so, I'm glad it brings us closer in that way. But anyway, back to the bookmark that I am hoisting for the benefit of YouTube, and I will make sure there is a photo of it in the show notes for everything and everybody else as well. On the side I'm holding up is one quote. It comes from your Creative Writing Toolkit, which I published 5 years ago. It says, "There may be 7 basic plots, but there are infinite original voices." This, for me, was the master key I offered myself when that wonderful excuses bingo grid that we have done in previous episodes throws up various sayings, accusations in my head, like if it were going to happen, it would have happened already, or by the time so-and-so was your age, they'd written this many of the kind of book that you want to write, and all of that stuff, which, because factual, can sound like it's based on facts. Ironically, it isn't. It's based on feelings. When I meet so-and-so who's published all of those novels, I now know enough about people and writing and life to know that they are looking at somebody else and having those same feelings somewhere else. It's why I founded the Writer's Gym, because I realised it was never about the writing. It was never about the quality of our writing or our potential as writers. It was about our feelings. It was never about the writing. It was about the writer. And the Writer's Gym was there to put the writer in charge, to take the writing off the pedestal and into the gym. And that is why this quote, "There may be 7 basic plots, but there are infinite original voices." Everything I've just told you might be true about me, and yet that only becomes the point if you make it a reason not to take the next step forward. If you tell me how logical and loud all of that is in your head, and that therefore you're listening to it. Instead, I choose the discomfort. I choose to take the next step forward, because nobody except me can put whatever I'm capable of putting into the world. It is literally impossible for that to happen. And that's why it's on the front of the bookmark. Today is a tour of the rest of the bookmark. You're going to have 4 more. Here they are. First one on the back of the bookmark. Aim to be interested, not interesting. If you need a little bit more encouragement to stay in the zone, know that every thought of, but it has to be good, and what would so-and-so do, and I haven't used enough vocabulary, all of the, you can mute me out if you want to before I say the technical word for what that is, utter shite that we are given in terms of what makes good writing. It is distracting, but what makes good writing is a connection with your reader, is that the reader understands so deeply they don't even notice it going in. It tastes, feels, is experienced as real in the emotional and literal sense. That happens when you are following your curiosity around the next corner. It doesn't happen when you're going, I have to be interesting, I have to be interesting, I have to be interesting. All that does is stop you. It limits you. It makes you feel like there is a right and a wrong answer, and that you don't have the right one. But if you're interested, if you're curious, you're too busy having a good time to notice whether or not you think you're being clever or impressive or anything else. And I can absolutely promise you that if you are interested, other people will be too. The one in the middle says, there may be 7 basic plots, but there are infinite original voices. I've just talked about that one. It's on there twice, on the front, on its own, and right in the middle. Not just because it's a long one and pretty and fits there, although I will acknowledge that that was useful, but because you cannot say enough times, it's not about competition with anybody but yourself. I am the sunscreen song generation. Perhaps you are too. The race is long, and in the end, it's only with yourself. Everything in there, including the sunscreen, I have forgotten was true at some point, and it never stopped being true. Only I can do what I can do. Only you can do what you can do. Even a little bit of it is moving forward. Giving up because it hasn't happened yet, nobody wins. Okay, here comes my favourite. So this is where Prue Leith and I are going to have an argument. Perfect was never on the menu. When you listen to the Bake Off, which I love, one of the things that gets talked about is, oh, she's a perfectionist. It's really good that she's a perfectionist. I get it. It's about doing everything you can do so the thing is the best version of itself that it can be. And this is something I do say a lot, is about, is it itself yet? Have you worked that novel so that the saggy middle is no longer saggy, so that every word is there for a reason, so that everything is moving towards the direction that you want it to? Everything is part of everything else. That's when a novel or a poem or anything else is itself. But they use the word perfect to mean that. And to me, perfect is the opposite of that. Authentic, yes. Real, yes. And, you know, maybe it's just a personality thing. But I am very uncomfortable with the word perfect. Because if you tell somebody they're a perfectionist, and what you mean is they're going to do something as well as they can do it, those things can be a contradiction in terms, because perfectionism can also mean you procrastinate. It can also mean you hand in something, as one of my MA students was the first to really explain to me. I'm a perfectionist, she said, with a manuscript full of errors. And it was because she couldn't bear to look at it. If there was something so far from perfect, it can lead you into behaviour that is not the behaviour you want. And this is why the first thing I say to myself is perfect was never on the menu. And I'm so glad I do, because this morning I sent off my first draft of a screenplay I'm working on to two people I'm absolutely thrilled to be working with, and I've been really inspired by stuff they've done for years. But if I sit there going, little me, what could I possibly offer, and trying to impress them, I will stop noticing that I already have. We're already working together. We are making a new reality. And I stop myself from enjoying it if I'm not careful. So forget perfect and get on with real, get on with you. Show what you're capable of, and people will work on it with you and make it better. You don't have to do it on your own in your head. And now the 3 words that changed my life. Say the thing. Thank you, Ariel Fisher at Fangoria magazine a few years ago, for when we were working together on an article that was about something that mattered very deeply to both of us. And I was drowning in detail. I was trying to get in every single thing I possibly could. I wanted to do the best value for them that I could. And she helped me fish out from that mess of detail of all possible versions of what this article could be, the heart of it, what it was going to be. And everything else gets saved for another article. And that is Say the Thing. That's where I got it from. But the reason, as with all of this, that it's my favourite is because there is no mental or physical issue or moment it doesn't apply to. Most of what we get upset about, most of what we churn over in our heads can be solved by doing these 3 words. Say the thing. What actually needs to happen in the world? Know why it's important. Know your why. Know why it's important to you. And it's probably worth the discomfort of sorting it out. I am going to invite you to make your own bookmark. It doesn't say on here the best writing advice was never about writing, but I say that as often as I possibly can, and I want to hear yours. What is the writing advice that hasn't stopped on the page for you? That changed things? And don't worry if it's not perfect, if you're not doing it every time. It's not about that. I have to remind myself of all this stuff every time, just like the sunscreen song. It's all about the process of moving towards something. It's not about arrival. We have to remind ourselves all the time. I will leave you with what I normally leave you with any given excuse, which is David Bowie. If I never see the English evergreens I'm running to, it's nothing to me. Put it out there into the world, know where you're going. Nothing you ever do will ever be quite good enough for you, but it will change someone else's life. and maybe we never even hear about it. But that doesn't make it any less true. Keep the faith in yourself as a writer, and keep your faith in your reader. See you soon. You've visited The Writer's Gym with author and coach Dr. Rachel Knightley. Production and sound design are by Ashley Lexine, and theme music is by Chris Gregory. To join a Writer's Gym workout online or in London, as a guest or as a member, visit writersgym.com or email thewritersgym@rachelknightley.com.